My name's Logan, and today I'll be talking about Christian worldviews and psychopathology. So, starting with the first question, based on your understanding of a Christian worldview and how you would define psychopathology, I pretty much align myself with the Crean text, and their definition says the field concerned with the nature, development, and treatment of psychological disorders, which I feel like is a pretty general definition of psychopathology. I think with the Christian worldview, as Christians, we are the ones that should be showing compassion and understanding, without judgment to these individuals who have psychological disorders. So I think we should stand out more, as we should show love, that the same love that Jesus shows towards people. So the next question, what does the Bible say about abnormality? Um, when I think about abnormality, I think about the story in Matthew 8, of the leper and Jesus healing the leper. So lepers were outcast. They were basically put out of the city so nobody would have to be around them. Nobody wanted to be around them. And the significance of Jesus touching the leper, and healing him, is really special, and just shows how abnormal, even if you think abnormal is weird or whatnot, you should follow Jesus' example and still reach out to these people and clients who have psychological disorders, such as schizophrenia, the more intense, or borderline personality disorder, the ones that can be more intense disorders. We still need to show that love that Jesus showed towards the leopard. And so, for the next question, what is the secular worldview of abnormality? So, I found this article by Carla Malero, and she talked about culture and psychopathology, which I didn't think it was a stretch when talking about the secular worldview of psychopathology. And she talks about moving away from traditional concepts of statistics and social norms as indicators of psychopathology and moving towards more subjective stress, dysfunction, and impairment in individuals. So I think the point she's trying to make is you meet the client where they're at, and their cultural and their worldview of psychopathology, as we know that different cultures have different knowledge about psychopathology, psychological disorders, and it presents itself differently in different cultures. So I think the secular worldview, also there is still stigma attached to mental health and these more intense psychological disorders. I feel like the time that we live in, there is more being spoken out about mental health disorders. Um, but I do think we still have a ways to go. As I personally, I work in an inpatient behavioral hospital, and we do have a crisis management unit, with more cases of schizophrenia and more aggressive types of psychological disorders. So I feel like when I tell people that I work in a behavioral hospital, that's their first idea of what a psych hospital would be, but which is not the case. That's one unit out of 8 in the hospital I work in. So there are so many different levels to psychological disorders, and it presents itself differently in each person. Even the same disorder presents itself as we know, differently in people. So I feel like we do still have a ways to go to fight the stigma attached to mental health, especially towards the more potentially more aggressive psychological disorders such as schizophrenia. So and that's the one that comes to my head. There's so many more, that could be more intense psychological disorders. But I feel like we have made great progress so far, but we still have a ways to go to change, people's view of psychopathology. But thanks for watching, guys.